So the whole state of Nebraska, the whole state has fucked around and found out the hard way. So,
So Trump supporters, if you're not worried now about the economy, now is the time to be worried.
It is also devastating to the other side when they fuck around and find out. People in Nebraska whose Tyson plant is closing and who are about to lose their jobs and health insurance next month, 72% of them voted for this. They voted for the tariffs. They voted for the ACA not being funded for the next 3 years. The ICE raise. They voted for all of this.
Hey Nebraskans, so apparently we're not paying taxes. Our state auditor has revealed that there are over $310 million of unpaid taxes right now, $41 million of which is just from this year. And well,
so the news out of Nebraska just keeps getting worse every day. I got a lot of responses to my video yesterday about how all the farmers are going bankrupt and how Governor Pill.
So Trump supporters, if you're not worried now about the economy, now is the time to be worried.
I want to ask, why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class? Billionaires and corporations got their tax issues enshrined into law forever, but the working class gets a no tax on tips or overtime that only applies to some of us, and now we wind up in a situation where we are.
Funded by wicked. Funded by the wicked billionaires.
With all due respect, sir, the Republican Party, now more than ever, represents the heart and soul of the working class.
Nebraska, Tyson Foods. They're the largest meat producer in the country. They're closing their Nebraska beef processing plant because of Trump economics. Cattle costs have risen $2 billion because of Trump's tariffs, and it has resulted in a net loss of $425 million in 2025 to date for Tyson Foods. So they're closing their meat packing plant, and 3,200 employees in this small town with only 11,000 residents are losing their jobs. 3,200 employees, and I can guarantee a vast majority voted for this. And it doesn't end there. Tyson is taking their 3-shift slaughter operation in Texas down to 1 shift. So a lot more people at their Texas facility are going to be let go. When you talk about big industries now being affected, not the small guy, but those at the top of the food chain being impacted and closing down, we are in a world of economic hurt. And this is just the beginning, because this Trump administration is not focused on fixing the problem. They keep creating more. And I got to tell you, just this Tyson food location in Nevada, there are so many suppliers, so many vendors, contractors every single day that did work for this Tyson facility, whether inside the building or outside the building. These are big contracts that these local businesses are now going to lose. So they're going to be affected as well. Expect more layoffs and bankruptcies downstream of Tyson Foods.
Hello and good morning. So, racism is expensive. It is extremely, extremely expensive, and it is also devastating to the other side when they fuck around and find out. People in Nebraska whose Tyson plant is closing and who are about to lose their jobs and health insurance next month, 72% of them voted for this. They voted for the tariffs. They voted for the ACA not being funded for the next 3 years. The ICE raise. They voted for all of this because they thought that's only going to affect people like me and you and not them. Now they fucked around and found out, and all of them are losing their jobs. And of course, you got MSNBC and CNN all out there, trying to get those heartfelt American stories, and the soul of America is being crushed by. No. There's no soul, because these people voted for this shit, thinking that it's going to affect me and you and not them. Now they're seeing it. Now they lose, like the rest of those farmers in Arkansas, Oklahoma, who are crying and holding prayer vigils because their crops are rotting right in front of their eyes. Now they feel it now because this Tyson plant is being shut down, and it's going to affect their economy in a devastating and crushing way. Also, there was a plan for a renewable energy that was going to happen on the eastern seaboard. Wind turbines and everything else. I don't really quite understand it. All I know is that plan has not been scrapped. This plan was to help give electricity to 3 million homes in Virginia and along in New York City and all along the eastern seaboard. Clean, renewable energy. This plan has been in system for years. It was signed off by the Pentagon in the previous administration, and it was safe and environmentally safe, supposed to bring in jobs and everything else. Kathy Hochul went on the news yesterday, you can look it up, and said this administration has gutted that plan. They have gutted that plan, a renewable energy plan, because this motherfucker hates wind turbines so much. He has gutted that plan for renewable energy and to help fund jobs, and Teamsters and unions, all those people who voted for that piece of shit, now don't have jobs because the plan for renewable energy along the eastern seaboard has been scrapped. And the company who was helping fund this plan, their stocks dropped by 12%. Because this asshole doesn't like renewable energy and prefers gas and coal. Look it up. Look at her press conference. So now we have 1,300 people in Nebraska who are losing their jobs next month, and the plan for the wind turbine system that's going to get clean renewable energy, and who was on the cups of getting started and bringing in jobs, union Teamster jobs. That plan has to scrap. And now those people don't have jobs now. Are we? I'll say it again and again and again. Are we winning yet? The unemployment rate is right now 1 million people have lost their jobs. Tack that on to the 3,200 losing their jobs next month. Tack that on to the Teamsters and union guys losing their jobs because the Pentagon, because of security reasons, scrapped the renewable energy plan that's supposed to be built on the East Coast. Racism is expensive. It is expensive. And no, I don't find it as gleeful and joyful because it's happening to me next month. It happens to any of us. With that said, racism is expensive. And again, are you winning yet with your vote? Are you winning yet? And that's it. Okay, bye.
Do you remember that moment right there in Omaha, Nebraska, where a Democrat defeated the longest serving Republican mayor in the country, and the Democrat won that mayor's race right there? That was back in May. And that foreshadowed, remember we reported on the Midas Touch Network? By the way, hit subscribe, help us get to 6 million subscribers. That foreshadowed a lot of what we saw back in November with the blue tsunami. It foreshadowed what we're seeing across the country because the new mayor there, John Ewing Jr., who won, he was running on affordability. He was running on let's actually fix the problems that are impacting the people of Nebraska, not these MAGA culture war issues. And we've only seen Trump and MAGA continue to attack Nebraska, not just Omaha, all across Nebraska. The farmers are getting crushed, workers are getting crushed, people in general are being crushed across the board in Nebraska, and they feel betrayed by Trump and MAGA. Let's just take a look right here at the Nebraska soybean farmers and their farmer association's recent meeting, and they talk about how Trump betrayed them. These are Trump voters. Here, play this clip.
Just continue to feed equity into the expire.
We sat in on a recent meeting of the Nebraska Farmers Union.
We're in the middle of the worst economic downturn that I've seen in my 50 years since the mid-1980s.
Members telling us they feel the Trump administration has let them down.
We voted because he was going to help the farmers, and now it's just hurting us like crazy.
Agriculture is our foundation here in Nebraska and many states in the Midwest. If agriculture is failing here, everything is going to fail.
People here wondering if President Trump has forgotten past promises to look after them, even during trade wars.
And of course, we know that people right now are terrified about the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire. People's health care in Nebraska is about to skyrocket, and people in Nebraska are horrified about what's happening. And MAGA doesn't give a crap about them. Here, watch this.
Over 100,000 Nebraskans are preparing for a significant hike in their health insurance costs.
We had somebody who had a $350 a month premium that was going to increase to $1,700 a month, or a $125 premium that was going up to $518 a month. That's simply unaffordable for folks.
A record number of Nebraskans, just over 136,000, used the ACC marketplace to find health insurance in 2025.
So mine went up 40% for this plan, and this is just a bronze plan. This isn't a deluxe plan. So that's why I'm so shocked.
KETV found that for 91% of those consumers, or those who make 138% or more above the federal poverty line, their premiums may increase in 2026.
The biggest change that is coming is there are some enhanced premium tax credits that are set to expire on December 31st of 2025. And so for plans that start in 2026, unless Congress chooses to extend those tax credits, people are going to see a really big difference in what they're paying for their health insurance coverage every single month.
Now you take a look at the MAGA Republican. He's not really MAGA Republican. Be fair to Congressmember Bacon. If there were to be a moderate, Republican out there, he would be the only one, basically. And he's leaving. He said,
"Hey, Nebraskans. So apparently we're not paying taxes. Our state auditor has revealed that there are over $310 million of unpaid taxes right now, 41 million of which is just from this year. And well, if you've heard that we are in a debt crisis right now, 450 million, you understand that actually delinquent taxes cover most of that. And if you combine it with the protested taxes at 370 million, you understand we're actually pretty much in a surplus. It's just the numbers on the book make it look like we are in some sort of problem. But what I want to point out the most is that the 41 million in extra delinquent taxes from just this year alone is a 15% increase, something that has come from large corporations and various individual taxpayers. The problem is the auditor's breakdown does not break down exactly who is not paying these taxes. Because with all these tax tools like Free Tax USA or TurboTax, whatever, like average people are not really having a problem paying the taxes, which leaves me to believe it's literally must be only the rich people and corporations who are getting away with this. And as the auditor noted, getting away with it, they are. Part of the reason why we haven't been able to get back some of those taxes is because there have been issues with the department in terms of selling off property or seizing things. Now, I personally think if you have to go to a corporation and force them to sell their assets off, they probably just shouldn't be allowed to operate within Nebraska. Corporations do not have a right to exist, operate within the rules, or get banned. At least that's the way I would handle it.
Trump-friendly town in Nebraska is feeling the weight of the president's economic policies. Joining us, MS Now national reporter Rosa Flores, who's in Lexington, Nebraska. What exactly is going on there?
You know, Katie, have you ever been in a place where you can just feel the pain and the anxiety? That's what it feels like being here in Lexington, Nebraska. This is a town of under 11,000 people, and 3,200 will lose their jobs on January 20th when the Tyson plant in town closes. People have described to me what's happening here by using the words catastrophe, crisis, the feeling of being collateral damage, hurt, anxiety, agony. I mean, just such powerful words because of what's happening here. The street that you see behind me is a vibrant business district. I've talked to some of the owners. Some of them are immigrants. As you drive up the street, the names of the businesses tell you about the diversity in this town. People from Mexico, from Guatemala, from Somalia, some of the former refugees who worked really hard at the Tyson plant, saved their money and became business owners in this community. There's another business here to my left down the street. That woman says that people have gone into her store sobbing. Her sales immediately dropped 10 to 20% right after the announcement. Up the street here is a public library. There are companies from all over trying to recruit workers. Here to my left down the street this way, there's a pastor who's trying to figure out how to speak about joy on Sunday services. The impact of this is everywhere, but here are some of the people that I talked to.
Are you trying to get information from the city? Has the city provided any information to you?
No yet.
Is that frustrating?
Yes. We need to know what's the other plan he had it. You know.
From the economy perspective, from the spiritual perspective, everybody's worried. You know, everybody's thinking, specifically in this season, what we need to celebrate. What will be the joy of this community in this Christmas season? Hoping, expectations, everything is in the air.
What do your friends tell you, the ones that are leaving?
We try not to talk about it because we get really emotional.
So you're mostly not talking about it?
We always try to think of the positive side.
Yeah. The time that you still have together?
Yes.
Is that what you focus on?
Yes, we try to make the best of it.
There's a small town in Nebraska that is home to a Tyson's food factory, and that factory is going to be closing down in January of 2026. The reason why that is important is because 3,200 people will be without a job. That is a significant portion of the population of that small town.
Mood of the individuals coming in for our services, of course, is anxiety. What do I do next? Will I have a job? Where do I go? And what do I do from here? Tyson workers make up about 3,200 of the population of 11,000 of Lexington. And so they have a great impact upon the culture, schools, and everything that a community is comprised of.
Now, the question that always arises whenever you see these mass firings or closures or layoffs is when these jobs leave, where do they go? And the answer is simple. They go to find cheaper labor markets to exploit. This is when capitalism becomes imperialism. When we look at the American history of the industrialization, we can see that this was the logical progression from the late 1800s to early 1900s. We had the textile mills, which left New England to go to the South. Then, from the 40s to the 60s, that was kind of peak white male manufacturing era. From the 70s, that's when we had the plant closures in the Rust Belt. 80s, globalization and automation. 90s and 2000s, we had all these different trade deals that were set up to allow us to do what? Exploit labor abroad. When we look at organizations like USAID, that provide a very humane face on our imperialism. Because imperialism, that is just as American as capitalism or as gun ownership. Two other tumors that make our country grow sicker every single day, but we deny our diagnosis. We say that it's the immigrants, it's this, it's that. We don't realize that this is the system that we set up. We don't get angry enough about how they exploit it and how they celebrate the exploitation. When USAID got funds from South Sudan that led to people dying of cholera, they celebrate it by eating cake. And I mean that in a very literal sense. When we look at the tumor that